down to the big political story. Markets may have taken a breather, but there's no rest for BJP leaders. The party is already in government formation mode in anticipation of a clear mandate on the 16th of May. The earlier part of the day saw hectic consultations among top leaders Rajnath Singh, Sushma, Arun Jaitley and Amit Shah in the capital. And now the focus is on the big meeting in Gujarat with the party's prime ministerial nominee Narendra Modi. Sources say likely portfolio distribution is the key issue on the agenda for these meetings. CNN IBN's Bhupendra Chaubey joins us now with the latest. Bhupen, what can we expect from these meetings and what will be the role of leaders like L.K. Advani and Murli Manohar Joshi if indeed the NDA comes to power? And I'm still saying if, because what we have today to contend with is still a post-poll. The final verdict is on the 16th. Some would say it's a bit premature to discuss portfolio distribution, but clearly there is confidence in the mandate that the NDA is likely to get.
Well, the joke which is doing the rounds in Delhi is that the BJP should be congratulated for winning the third straight exit poll from 2004 to 2009 to 2014. And it's almost as if the BJP has already bought into that story. And that's the main reason why we're now seeing this fervor activity which is taking place within different corners of the party. Now, truth be told, that Mr. Modi himself is very convinced that the kind of campaign he had unleashed over the last few months, that campaign has been successful. And he believes that the BJP is certainly on course of forming its own government, that he's on the verge of becoming the Prime Minister. The only thing which is not really clear within the BJP is the scale of Mr. Modi's victory. Are we talking about the BJP being somewhere around 220, or are we talking about the BJP on its own, minus the allies, getting as high as 260 to 270 seats? Because remember, the BJP has just contested 370 seats. The meeting which is taking place in Gandhinagar today effectively has been called to take stock of the evolving situation, the kind of statements which have been made by different parties, and to answer that one critical question: who are the parties who should be looked at as potential allies by the BJP? Now, that has nothing to do with numbers, whether you're at 220 or 260. The view within the BJP, and certainly Mr. Modi is of this view, that there will be far greater acceptability of his leadership if he was to get hold of more allies than the Congress party. You would remember that in between 1999 and 2004, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, the NDA was a 32-party conglomerate. Mr. Modi's contention is that he should be seen to be in a position in which he has the support of more political parties, numerically and otherwise, in comparison to the Congress. So the back channels are being worked out with parties like AIADMK led by Jaitley, Biju Janata Dal led by Naveen Patnaik, even a Kumaraswamy and Deve Gowda of the Janata Dal Secular are being looked at as potential allies. Jagan Mohan Reddy could think in terms of extending outside support. Mayawati could be depended on because she once again has that news of the disproportionate assets case against her. The BJP doesn't want to leave any stone unturned, and that's the main reason why you're seeing this spate of meetings, largely to answer that big question about who are the parties which could be looked at as potential post-poll allies.
All right, Bhupen, stay with us. You know, Biju Janata Dal leaders have indicated conditional support for the NDA provided the alliance gives special status to the state of Odisha. BJP Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, however, maintains publicly that there's been no discussion with anyone. Down south, Jaitley-led AIADMK, as Bhupen was pointing out, is saying that it would like to have close ties with the new government. Let's listen in to some of these comments that have come in.
कई पार्टी के सदस्यों ने, खास करके जो आप हमारे चीफ विप के बारे कहे हैं श्री त्रिपाठी, उन्होंने सजेशन दिया है कि कंडीशनल सपोर्ट कंसीडर किया जा सकता है ऑन द ग्राउंड्स कि उड़ीसा के लिए कोई स्पेशल स्टेटस, और खास करके जैसे पोलावरम प्रोजेक्ट जो उड़ीसा में बहुत सारे गांव को डुबा सकता है, उसको हैंडल करने के लिए कंसीडर किया जा सकता है.
No talks at all. We've had no talks. No, we haven't discussed anything. We've not thought of anything.
Madam Jaitley is a very good friend of Modi. Modi is a very good friend of. Modi has got the highest respect for Madam Jaitley. So, both are acceptable with each other. Politically, they may differ. Madam will prefer to have a close liaison with Modi so that she can get things done for Tamil Nadu.
Well, several very good friends now out to do deals. That seems to be the situation. But Bhupen, coming back to you, you know, it might be a bit premature, but the lobbying in the capital has already begun within the BJP circles on who will get what. If the post-poll survey is to be believed, and if those numbers are in fact accurate, who's vying for what position, and how much pull and pressure will the RSS exercise on portfolio distribution should the BJP be ready to form government?
Well, let me say this clearly, Shireen. Irrespective of what the BJP number is, whether it's 220 alone or 260 alone, the real organization which is pulling the strings in this battle for 2014 is not necessarily Mr. Modi, but Mr. Mohan Rao Bhagwat. The senior leadership of the RSS has been camping in Delhi just to ensure that cabinet formation, the process of allotting of berths to the BJP leaders, to allies, everything passes off smoothly. Because remember, in many ways, this is also a process of transition. This is an era of transition within the BJP. A lot of the old guard of the BJP, like Murli Manohar Joshi's, L.K. Advani, a whole host of leaders who were brought in by the RSS, they are on the verge literally of perhaps seeing their last cabinet position in any government. And therefore, there is that attempt being made to somehow ensure that feathers are not ruffled. For instance, Murli Manohar Joshi has gone to the RSS headquarters and said that since he was the HRD minister between 98 and 2004, so if he has to be a minister this time, he must be given a portfolio which is bigger and better than the HRD. Effectively, we're talking about three portfolios. Who is going to be the home minister? Who's going to be the finance minister? And who's going to be the defense minister? Now, this is what I have picked up on the basis of my conversation from people who matter within the BJP and the RSS. The person who is leading the front, in a sense, to be the home minister is the present BJP president, Rajnath Singh. If Rajnath Singh manages to hold on to win his seat from Lucknow with a comfortable margin, I think it's all but certain that Rajnath Singh indeed is going to be the home minister as well as the BJP president. The defense minister, Sushma Swaraj, at this point of time is the leading light to be taking over as the country's first woman defense minister. The defense minister's job is not very political. Sushma Swaraj hasn't really seen eye to eye with the Narendra Modi, and Mr. Modi's contention is that while that ministry has that kind of stature which a Sushma Swaraj deserves, it also gives him an opportunity to look at the political management part of a BJP-led government completely on his own in an independent manner without any interference coming from a Sushma Swaraj. Then comes the big one, the finance ministry, and that's where all bets are off. And who is going to be the finance minister ultimately will be dependent on how many seats the BJP gets. Now, here's my forecast, and I'm not a pollster. I'm just giving you facts which I picked up from the ground. If the BJP is at 250, I think that Mr. Modi would think in terms of bringing in a technocrat or even someone like an Arun Shauri, who hasn't used charitable language against Rajnath Singh in the past. Remember, Arun Shauri, while he may be close to Narendra Modi and Mr. Modi may be buying into the kind of economic rationale which is often put forward by Arun Shauri, he's someone who had described Rajnath Singh as a Humpty Dumpty in 2009 when the BJP had lost power. And Rajnath Singh happens to be the incumbent president again. My understanding is if the BJP is at 250, Arun Shauri, if the BJP is below 250, 220, 230, I think Arun Jaitley. The script could go horribly wrong for Mr. Jaitley if Mr. Jaitley himself ends up losing the Amritsar election, because he's also involved in a very tough battle there, in which case suddenly the bets will be off and you could perhaps see maybe a third person coming up. Could it be Murli Manohar Joshi? I'm not really sure. The RSS would be happy to have a Murli Manohar Joshi, but will a Mr. Modi be happy or not? I think that's a critical question.
Oh, Mr. Murli Manohar Joshi is not going to go down well at all as far as the markets are concerned if he were to get the finance portfolio. Interesting that you're talking about Arun Shauri being a strong contender for the finance portfolio, and you also talked about a technocrat, because the buzz in the market has been that maybe someone from the outside like a Deepak Parekh may in fact be a contender for the finance portfolio, but whether or not that is going to be politically viable, I have my doubts. Bhupen, a quick comment.
Yes, I agree with you. You know, remember, Shireen, Manmohan Singh in 2009 wanted to bring in a Montek Singh Ahluwalia as a finance minister, and we all know what happened, how the entire Congress party came down and said that you can't bring a technocrat who's got no connection whatsoever with electoral politics to be in charge of finance ministry. So I think as much as the markets may want to see a complete outsider, a technocrat taking charge of the finance ministry, I don't think that's going to be possible. I think you will ultimately see a BJP member who will be looking after the finance ministry. But what you could see is that you may see a larger advisory board which could be constituted, where the names like the ones you mentioned of Deepak Parekh and a whole host of other leading luminaries from the industry, they could be brought in, not necessarily in decision makers role, but more as an advisory role.
All right, Bhupen, we leave it there. Let's see what the future holds as far as portfolio distribution is concerned. Perhaps we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves considering the final verdict is yet to be delivered. But thanks very much indeed for joining us on CNBC TV 18. In other news,